Hey, this is the only word I can. Yeah, and welcome to the speech. Thank you for coming. My name is Ehsan Dashti. Maybe some of you know me already. I'm the founder and owner of Triton. This is a company in Germany. And I will tell you a bit more about the company. First of all, I want to thank David for inviting me. Thank you very much, sir. And have the possibility to talk to you personally. Thank you very much. First of all, I want to tell you about me a bit. Akvariet since I'm 12 years old, so 8 years. No, don't ask me. But no, and I studied chemistry, but I'm not finished. So I started my company before I finished my chemical degree. My mother and my father are in the business also. They are chemist and pharmacist degree. But I started because, you know, it was the right decision for me to do it. Yeah, what do we do? What is or who is Triton? Triton, in the first place, does that work? Yeah. Is this company. This is one area of the company. And it's looking really fancy because of my wife. Thank you very much. My desk never looked like this after this picture. This is the show tank. We have a show tank directly to the desk, and for sure the laboratory. And this speech is about the service that we do. So this is the main area, and you can see the HPLC and the ICP over there, and it will be about the ICP testing, the machine we tested. Yeah? So question is. What do? We do chemical production. This is the base of what we do normally. So products for aquarium keepers, public or at home. We also do technical products. Technical products means, you know, we have a lamp, the Lanis. We're not going to talk about it today because it's quite difficult in a moment. But very good lamp. This is but not too important to us. And we have the research, development, and service part. This is a very important point to our work because it will, you know, also make the other points better. You know, we do a lot of development in chemical points, but it is also having an effect on our technical components. What is an ICP? This is not an ICP. This is just a lab to show you. This is the HPLC lab, and the ICP is when you go through. And this is our ICP laboratory. The ICP is on the left side. This is our experimental area where we do experiments like, you know, for phosphate removers or chemicals and stuff. This is quite a really clean room. I'll show you one more picture. This is the ICP machine on its own. You can see it a bit at the left. The right side is the auto sampler, which is automated when we put in the tests. And the PC. This is the plasma. It's 10,000 Kelvin hot. It's really hot plasma with argon gas. I will tell you how it works afterwards, just for having a picture how it looked like, you know. And this is a beautiful hand. So, how does ICP work? First of all, I'll explain to you easily. We need a sample, right? So we have a sample, and the sample will be introduced to a chamber. You know, this is the nebulizer chamber, and the sample will be nebulized in there. So it will be a really fine mist. You know, it is like a fog that will be created, and the fog of the seawater sample you get to us will enter the plasma. Second. It's slow. So, when it enters the plasma, the atoms that are in this sample will be excited. It means they get a like energy level higher than they are normally. And when this happens, they want to leave this energy away again. So when they move from the really hot area of the plasma to the not too hot, still hot, you know, not too hot anymore, they will leave and when they leave it, they will blow up. They have a special color they emit, you know. So there will be light emitted from the small atoms, and this light we can detect in a detector unit. I know this is quite a bit difficult, but if you have questions, you can ask me afterwards. I can explain it to you. Now it's not too complicated. But the detection unit can detect then the nanometers, you know, the light emission line, and find out what is inside. The nice thing to it is a trace element detection. You know, it is like made to detect trace elements in salt, for example, or in brine. So we are using it for the right purpose. You know. What can we detect? We can detect all these elements listed here, except the ones that are gray like that, you know, and they are not too much. So normally when we test one test, the ICP OES will make a picture of all these elements in the water. We'll have all of them in. So what you can see in blue lines, the blue lines are the ones that we give out to you, so you know about them in numbers, like quantitative, you know, and the gray ones we know for our own, and they are qualitative. If we find out that, for example, lanthanum is interesting for you, for public works, for example, it is, because they use lanthanum chloride often, we will also in future give this up, you know, so you can have a comparison. But for now, nobody want to know about yttrium, you know, so we leave it, so you're not going crazy, because in normal, the hobbies will only test maybe for 7 or 8 parameters, and that are 32, you know, so. Yeah, it's a bit. So what kinds of research do we do with this laboratory, with all the laboratory, but also with the ICP? For sure, we do testing in seawater. This is me and my wife. I am in holidays, my wife is working. So we're doing testing samples from the reefs, you know. This is in Flores this year. Show you some more pictures. We take samples like that, and they are close and not contaminated, and then from different areas, like this was a sponge, and this is a, what's called sea salt or something? No, I'm not sure in English.
Sea squirt.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I will show you a small video of how we do. This is a, oh, sorry. What's up with this thing? No, the nice video is gone. Sorry, guys. Can you start again? Sorry. Yeah. Okay. Now it should work. So yeah, this was a. We searched for areas with monocultures because this is more interesting for us, you know, to find out if there is any difference from these places where there is a monoculture or to others where there is a lot of different corals in there. And we found here how the Stellophora that was a bit crazy. So we thought taking samples over there is quite nice. We have taken 150 samples only from Komodo. It's a quite nice place. We take 3 samples. You can see that 2 are like blank and the normal sample, and 1 is a syringe because we need to filter it afterwards, you know, on board. It's quite nice place. It's like, I think, about 15 meters or something. But what we do also, and it's the main thing we do, it's a core for the science we do, is we do testings on you, you know. So we do research on reef keepers, and that means that we have tested already 7,000 samples out of reef tanks, and this is over the last 7 years an unbelievable source of information. You know, it is extremely interesting because you have a lot of data points which you can compare with each other, and people that have reef aquariums in their house and observe them all the time and see differences from their aquarium to, let's say, the neighbor's aquarium or one public aquarium to the other, can come up with informations, and when we compare them to the tested results, we have real knowledge out of them. You know, it's quite nice, and it is a chemical thing for sure. We have other like influences also like light and temperature and stuff. But for the chemical part, it's very interesting, especially for corals, because they are very chemical organisms. So, main thing, and I think the most interesting part of the speech, beside the questions and answers, is how does this help you as aquarists, you know, in husbandry or like in mimicking habits. And the first thing it does is creating knowledge, right? Because we're not hiding any amounts away, or we're not saying like you need to use Triton element 34. We tell you it is iodine, it's vanadium, it's manganese, whatever, you know. And this creates knowledge with you. You don't need to, you know, believe in what I say. You just do your testing on your own. Use us, let's say it this way, you know. And what you can, for now, see, for example, is this is the amount of water you test right now. You know, this round thing is what is in seawater, and what you normally test is just the 6.8%. I even cannot write the 1% over there. You know, so it is just this small amount. What we test is this. So, you know, having the whole picture of the water, even if it's not organic, it's just chemical, brings you a lot more information. You know where to find like errors and stuff. And I will tell this on in the next one. And you have like, you know, you cover all the macroelements. And you know, people talk often about trace elements, but you have macroelements like bromide and strontium, like you know, potassium that you get able to test good for, or fluoride, which we test with the HPLC. And this is all covered. And we also cover 24 trace elements for you know. Also the rest of the trace elements, but the 24 you can see, you know, and you can change actively. Like lithium, these are the list of trace elements you can measure. Lithium is quite nice because the Americans have a lot of it, maybe because of depression, I don't know. If they see it, they will kill me. Oh, sorry. And we're working on more, you know, like I told you before, like lanthanum and stuff will come in the future. I hope that you know, we'll find even more things that are interesting and we can report them then to you. What does this like bring you in the practical part? It's bringing you more control over your tank. You know, you know what to buy. In the moment, normally people, those trace elements, they know they're used up, they know they're somehow important, but you have a bottle where it's trace element written on, and you know, this is not the way to put it. It's a bit of a guesswork, and it's not bad, but it is not the right way if you have the possibilities to do it different. You know? More control is also better understanding of your animals. You know, no panicking is one word that people always like to hear from me. Is, you know, the people tend to, one coral is dying, and they tend to say, oh damn, I need to do a water change directly because the rest will die. I tend to do the same thing, but if you have more knowledge about water and everything is showing up okay, you maybe think about it twice and say, oh, possibly it's a parasite, possibly it's a disease. You know, possibly the coral is just too old or something is wrong with the current. And this is something really nice to it. You know, you can say, okay, it is not the chemical part of my tank. This is something that you couldn't do before. Before, all people blamed the chemistry. Something went wrong, you cannot, you know, you have too high nitrates. That's it. You know, do water treatment. And this is gone. This is now over. Better information is better decisions, for sure. And it is a superior error detection. That's for sure. You know, so the testing will give you a percentage of getting improvements to your tank. But the biggest percentage is error detection. That means you are doing errors. It is like it is, and you cannot copy your neighbor's tank. You know, people used to do that often. They try to copy a tank that is nice. They want to have it exactly the same. So they ask the guy, and the guy tells them, okay, this is the way I do it. And they try to copy it, but it's not the same. Even if they take a coral out of this tank, putting it into the others, it's everything like Red Sea, whatever, and it's not going to work. And there is a reason for that, because you do mistakes, errors, that you're not aware of. You know, you cannot detect them, because they are in your water, but it is not like you can see them on directly, obviously. And this test helps you with that. For example, we have tested Ornaments Museum's aquarium water. It's quite a nice guy, I like him, Jamie Craigs. And he found a valve that was rusty and elevated all the time zinc in his water. So we have found zinc in his water, which is a public aquarium. And then he went and searched for the place where the zinc is coming from, and finally found it, get it off, and there is no zinc in his water anymore. So, complicated systems, this is really, a really superb kind of finding some errors. You know something is wrong, you will find at the end the source of the error, and eliminating it will be perfect. I want to show you before sorry to end and starting the question and answering. This is how the report looked like when you get it. So because it's a lot of data, and normally people are, even a bit, it's a bit difficult for them even having like 6 or 7 parameters. You can see that in the forums, they're still asking for calcium, magnesium and stuff. So we have 32, so we need to have an interface that is proper baked up, otherwise people will go crazy. We have like separations like heavy metals that are unwanted, for example, in the upper part. We have macro elements here, and it's going on like this, lithium, beryllium, and so on. And what is nice to this one is this area here, right? It's a flat, it's green, yellow, or red, So you directly find the source and say, oh, damn, something is red. If something is happening in my tank, which is the first instance always, if nothing is happening, you don't change anything. But if something is happening in my tank, it's not nice, and something in here is red, the first thing you do is changing it into green, And this is what you can do. You can fill up things like lithium if you want. You can reduce things by, like for example, copper you can reduce without water changing, but for example, lead, you need to water change for it. But you know exactly what to do. You need to exactly when do I do a water change, when do I do detox or whatever, and how to treat the aquarium. And this is quite nice, and doses and stuff is written there, but just to let you know, it's not as difficult as it sounds right now. Let's see some results. This is our show tank. We have our own show tank, my show tank, directly in front of my desk. We do that because we are a very transparent company. When I made up the company, I wanted to be 100% transparent, as transparent as it could be. So we have the testing service that can also, control our own products. We have our own LED lamp that is working on this tank, and I wanted to have it like that because we can do that, and we can also show that. This is a side view of the tank. Yeah, it's all SPS, a lot of SPS in the tank. We have very strange fish also. We have like angelfish and a lot of like antias, a lot of anamyces and stuff like that. The clam is now 1 meter big. Yeah, it's quite big. I have a funny video, but that's not have it here. Okay, next time. You can see it on YouTube. This is quite spawns. Yeah, it is a very healthy tank. Honestly, it is like looking like a slice out of the reef. This is what I always wanted. I have also pictures from before, like really old pictures, but you can see like everything is filled up. There's no place left. Yeah, you have a lot of kinds of like Milliphoras or Loricase, a lot of Aquaphora kinds. Montifora, really nice one out of Australia. Yeah, you have the big Prostrata up. We have cut it out. This tank is 3 years and 7 months old now, and we cut it out of it 35 kilos of coral raw mass. Yeah, it is growing really fast now. So this is a tank. This is the tank 3 years ago. Now it's really old picture. There you can see a coral. I've made this to show you how it growth. You can right now see that there is a piece of there in this area. There, it's growing on the rock. It's touching the rock, right? So going to the next picture. This is after I think 1 year and 8 months or something. It's also growing on a rock. You cannot see that right now, but it's no problem. See you can see what I mean. In this area here, right? It is growing under the rock. It's aquapora. There's no light, you know. It's growing under the rock and it's doing already yellowish, you know, things out of there again. And this is really rare, but it is. Oh, sorry. You can see it again. Hey. Is it working? Yeah. Good. So this is also a quite old picture, you know. From the side view, I think 1 year old. This is what it looks like now. So, you know, corals are growing downwards. So it's really strange. Aquapora is 70 centimeter high tanks. And it is because of the food sources, you know. We don't use UV, we don't use ozone. We have a lot of difficult fish in there. It's not the point. We have like tucantias in there. We have Amphis femininus. We have banded angels in there. You know, one banded angel. This is the tank 3 years ago. This is the tank now. You know, so yeah, it is working quite well. You know, this is something that is really important for me because the lab work you do for the, you know, I can tell you how I do testings, how precise it is, and everything, but it's not useful for you because you will not really understand it, or you need a lot of effort to do it, to understand it then. But this is showing you that it's working actually. You know, this is the best way for me to show how our products can work. You know, and also our testing. This tank is tested, I think, 8 times a day because it is our control test. You know, not because it's needed, but we need a control test in the runs. And yeah, this is quite, you know, good thing to have for a laboratory. This is Aquarium humilis. It's standing in the side on my tank. We had a picture there. Wait a second, I'll find it for you before we go on. There in the corner, you see? In the corner here. Aquarium humilis, right? I think 2 years ago. So this coral now, which is also a bit of, normally a bit of pain coral, is growing out of the water, right? Here. And it is put in polyps in the darkness. It's here. It's growing on the rock over there, right? It's growing on. You cannot fake that. All the corals in our tank, they are living from the downside. You know, all the aquapora is living, and it's so even colored underneath. You know. We have some samples for that. Millipora from Australia. Also, the food is really strong. Everything alive, right? No light. So, I think, guys, that's enough. I can see your ears are bleeding. No, don't worry. We'll go on with questions and answers. I think this is bringing you more information. You can answer a question and ask me everything you want. It's not need to be related to the talk, but you know, if you keep it a bit straight to this, I'll be happy. So go on. Sorry.
What is the reliability for the tests? How close can you get?
How close to what?
To the figures that you measure.
The accuracy.
Accuracy of the test.
Yeah.
The accuracy of the test, we report them in the accuracy and limit of detection sheet on the website, and the deviations will be written in there. But you need to be, you need to know that ICP testing is about stability. You know, so we need to test for the stability before we can put in deviations. You know, but normally, like for things, it's about 2% for the big like the macro elements. So sodium, 2% is already 200 milligram per liter, because it's 10,000 milligram per liter, so it's quite high. But for Akvariet, you know, it's not the point, because you put in a bit of sodium bicarb, and you know, that's really okay, even if it would be 300. But like for magnesium, it's a quite difficult one, because we tested it in line. It's something around 15 to 20 milligram per liter in accuracy, like deviation, you know. With the seawater standard, we are in calcium plus minus 5 to 8, you know. For potassium, we are plus minus 7, and it's when they go and getting less, you know, you can see like 400 milligram, and when it's going less, it's getting more precise because you have a percentage error. You know, it is made for trace element detection, so trace elements are quite fine. You know, when you have like, I think phosphorus is difficult, but because of the organic and you know inorganic forms, but it is still plus minus 3 phosphorus. This is plus minus 0.09 phosphate, which is okay. You know, you have a lot of let's say problems with the matrix of seawater and the organics in seawater, but we solved this problem. You know, so it is working quite good, and the point to it is the precision is applicable to the aquarium. This is the main thing. We're not doing this for academic reasons, right? For academic reasons, I would use another machine. I would use, you know, filtered samples, for example. But we're not doing it right now because it is not working for the aquarium like that. You know, we have a method for aquariums and for keeping aquariums, which is happy.
How long does it take for my sample to come to you?
In the moment from Sweden, it's a bit longer, I need to tell you, because you're sending it directly to me. I'm working with my partner in here, Henrik, on it, you know, to get it faster to us. It's not the point of accuracy, because the sample will be atomized, right? So every atom is closed in this thing, will be detected. You know, you can freeze it, you can cook it, you can do whatever you want. I think there was a question like that on somebody asked me before. But the problem is, as longer it takes, as longer your tank has time to change. So it should be fast, but to be honest, it shouldn't be a big problem, because from America it's taking 2 days with FedEx. But, you know, and in here we will do something similar. So 3 days would be a good thing to have it, and then maybe 2 days or 3 days after to test it, and that's fine. It's applied.
How much does it cost to do that test?
In Europe, like with us, it costs you €35 for, like, you know, with tax and everything for the end consumer. Yeah, it's not really expensive for 32 elements.
How does one actually send it in?
Sorry?
How does one actually send it in?
We have envelopes, you know, and you can just buy an envelope. There is everything in there you need. You know, you have 2 sample containers. You just, you know, you have something how to take the sample and stuff. It's quite easy, you know, it's not difficult. There are, you know, there are possibilities. You can also ask. I think Henrik said some stuff with him.
Yeah. I want to stress something very important.
Yeah.
Because people, when they get troubles,
Yeah.
they send in the test.
Yeah.
But they shouldn't do that. They should send in the test when the aquarium is good.
Correct.
First,
Yeah.
in with the good example,
Correct.
and when you get problem, in with that.
The nice thing to the testing is we have the set points. Maybe I can try to find it again. And the set points on sorry we'll go on soon, which is show you this way. Can you try? Yeah. So we have the set points in here, right? And I made them up because of all the testing I've done over the world and in reef aquariums. But what is nice is there is a button below. You can download this area. So let's say your tank is looking really good in winter time, in Christmas, and you love it. You can take these parameters and put them for the set points. So chemically, your tank will always be the one that you like, you know, not the one that I like. So you can do that. You can even go, you know, on expedition on your own, David, like you go to the expedition, and then take some samples from Australia or whatever, and do the same thing. And you will have exactly the same, you know, parameters like you have found in the Maldives, for example. You know, this is quite nice to it. It is not like I force you to have some parameters. You can also change them on their own. And the calculations for the dosage will be applied to the set points. So the computer will calculate how much you need to put in from what to get to the set points, not to the ones that I said. You know. So good. Quite cool. Thank you very much.
The reef chemistry in a tank can vary a lot over time, right?
Yeah.
So do you have like a preferred method to get like your your optimal values out? Would you do a series of tests during the most stable period and test during the same time at a certain hour each day? Or
Well, yeah,
what's your preferred approach?
you know, you can do that. You know, for the for the Triton method, this is my method that I made up. It's not that it shouldn't be an advertising thing for me right now, and I'm not going to do too much now, you know. But you know, we made up this method because we're not going to blame other companies. You know, it's not like I want to have everybody forced to do what I do. You know, it's just I have a responsibility to have a possibility for people to get all green results. You know, and I cannot go and say, don't use the stuff from Quran, so don't use this, don't use this. What I do is just use my stuff, then you will have everything green. And otherwise, you can use this ICP testing or our lab to get, you know, on green on your own. It is a bit made up, needed, you know, I don't need to know what you need to do to tell you how to test for it, but also we can do that, you know. It's just like when you're doing barling, for example, you need to test, when you're doing it with the heavy metal components, you know, which barling maybe made up, you need to test at least once a week because you're putting in heavy metals. And if you're doing a calcium reactor, for example, you need to test the calcium reactor and not once a week. It's enough when you test it, you know, maybe an average of 3 times over whole, you know, whole the media is gone, something like that. You know, it's just that I've not made up a method like that, but I've made a method that reduces this test for sure. You know, and this is like a try. Somebody else?
How about water changes?
Do you know me? Well, we don't do any water changes. You know, we don't do any because when I ask people why they do them, right? Normally the answer is, and I'm not forcing you to tell me this now, but the answer is because I want to have trace elements in the tank, or I want to reduce, you know, nitrates and phosphate. And water change usually are done 10% a week. In the past, we have done them 10% a month. I don't know when it's changed, you know, but I don't know, maybe we are getting less aquarists and they need to have more money. But the point is 10% to reduce 1 ppm of phosphate. You know, maybe they have 1 ppm phosphate in the tank and reduce 10%. It's 0.9. You know, it's just nothing. And in the same way is putting things in, they need to be, you know, 10 times more in the salt, which then is not good to mix up the tank with this salt. You know, I even don't need ICP testing to tell you why water change is not logical, you know. And a lot of people don't do it, to be honest, not only me, you know, a lot of people don't do it. But I need to also tell you that scientifically, or from a researcher's point, I would do a water change if I just know 6.8% of the water. This is the way it is, you know, when I know 6.8% of the water and the rest is unknown, I would also do a water change. The problem with it is you don't know if your salt is good enough or better than what is in right now in your tank. For example, you have lead in the tank, right? And you have also lead in your salt, water change is useless. You know? So what you need to do, honestly, is the water change is a tool and you need to make it when it's time for it. You know, it's not like we would never do it. If my kid go there and put in beer in my tank, I would do a water change. It's just the truth, you know. But if not, and everything is all right, and I can test for everything in my tank, or the most things, you know, especially for the harmful ones like the heavy metals over there. You know, and I'm testing my change water, like the water what I would change with, and there is a lot of heavy metals in it. Why do a water change? You know, this is the point. And you, nice thing to it is you can leave it away and find out on your own. You can test, leave the water change away, and you find out on your own. It is just this kind of research we do, you know. And we offer you this knowledge. You don't need to listen to me again. It's not the point. I don't want you to trust me. You can do this all on your own. It's anonymous. I don't know you. You know, just your number. for me. Again, it's not like I know your name or what you're doing, you know, it's just like you send the test and you will see on your own this is real knowledge that we offer. Somebody?
Do you keep statistics over the most common errors of trace elements and such?
Yeah.
For like say for Sweden, do you have like a statistic here? What's the most common?
We will have.
Okay.
Yeah, it is about the amount of tests we get. You know, so normally the countries that are well supported, that you are well supported right now, you know, there will be a lot of tests from Sweden. Then we divide them into countries so we can see what is the biggest error. You know, and also we do that with sometimes possibly, you know, we get an email and we get asked about something like how is your normal calcium measurement, with what are you measuring and stuff, because we want also to know about the errors people do at home with like calcium tests and stuff. Sometimes we see a calcium level of 700, you for sure get an email and we ask you how you do the measurement, you know. So we know about, you know, also the statistics, like where the biggest errors are lying in reef keeping. This is our main research area. We do that.
I believe in saltwater there are some trace elements that were not consumed by corals. They just are there. Have you done any measurements of what trace element is consumed in the coral?
Yeah, we've done that. You know, we've done that. You have a lot of funny things out of it. But it's also not only consumption. You know, what you have is also export by filtration. So you have, for example, carbon. It will take your iodine. This is the truth. If you leave the carbon away, your iodine stays longer. You know, so it's not only what is consumed by your corals, it's also what is used up by your filter media and stuff, you know, skimming and stuff like that. And we do that. But you know, this is the part of the knowledge we use to make our products. And you know, you will see when you use them that it's not like they are balanced. Quite working well for 35% of all tanks worldwide in the moment. So you know, we cannot make it matching for every tank because every tank is different in coral, you know, and in the, you know, what is called like in the demand of what the corals need, because there are different corals in the tank. So that's it. 35% we're quite good.
If I buy a test here in Sweden, do I send it directly to you?
No, it will not be like that anymore. You will send it to the wholesaler. Okay. And the wholesaler will send it via express mail, so it's faster. Okay. Otherwise, it's taking too long. Okay. You know, it's not taking too long, but it could be better, and we're working on that.
All right. One question more. What kind of equipment do you use in your aquarium, like skimmer, so on?
Yeah, we have an oversized skimmer because the
which brand?
ATB.
ATB.
ATB comb, yeah, normal. It's quite good skimmer, I like it. But it's oversized because we have a lot more biomass than a normal tank would have. You know, so it's not like I have a 2,500 liter tank, and yeah, it's a 5,500 liter skimmer. Some more questions?
In case that you put statistics from each country, do you publish this? Because I think that it's very interesting to see, because you have national forums and so on, and you can see different methods that works in different countries.
I will do that, and you need to know that it is this very sensitive information, not for me, you know, but people are going crazy in the countries. So, like I told the lithium stuff to the Americans, from some, and oh my God, and you know, So, you know, we're careful with that. With this information, we're careful, but we will do it at one special point where also, you know, I can back it up a bit. Because if I then go to holidays, it's not a good idea.
If you think about Europe, carbon market, or is a big difference between, say, Germany, Holland, Italy?
Yeah. UK is very different. You know, the UK is very different. Italy is a bit different, but it is like in the mainland Europe, it is more the kind of you're keeping your tanks. In Italy, they use Korallenzucht a lot. and you can see the copper amounts in the water, you know. But I'm not sure about Sweden right now. Netherlands is similar to Germany, but the German tanks are very small right now. It's not too big, you know. Things like that. It's not about really the water or something, because normally in Europe we use the same products. It is more about like salts that you buy, and Europe salts are always like from Europe. American salts are from America, and then you can see directly there are, you know, big differences. Things like that. So you need to be a bit more over the world. Singapore, for example, they are always low in salinity, very low, because they use seawater, and the seawater is low in salinity. You know, things like that. But it's interesting, and I will publish it once, you know, when they don't go crazy on me. So
there's been some who have asserted that the protein skimming removes trace elements from the water. Is this anything that you have done a study on?
Yeah, but we need to have a lot of different kind of skimmers for that, and one tank. And I'm not doing it on my tank. If you want to be a... but to be honest, it is not too much. You know, it is not too much. It is correct when they're bound, heavy metals, when they're bound to humic acids and stuff like that, they will be skimmed. Not too much again, but you know, what is getting out of your tank is nice. What is getting in is bad. So getting things out, the skimmer take them out, we're happy because we can just dose them controlled. But if they're in all the time, they are a pain. This is better when you get them out. So what are questions?
Do you feed your corals with something
No.
that's
No, but this is related to the algae bed in the Triton method. You know, I also don't feed my anthers too often, and they're looking like fat bombs. You know, they're really, yeah, it's not too good. So it is about the amount of natural food you have in the tank. You know, the best amino acids are living amino acids, because amino acids otherwise would, like, you know, die off or, you know, broke down in 24 hours. So having a live animal that is carrying the proteins in them is the best food source you can have. You know, so we don't feed our corals extra. We don't do that.
So you don't have any amino acids in your
No.
system?
No, because it's not keeping too long. You will be in need to put them in and it's a question still. I'm not believing that they're taking them directly from the seawater. It's not what I don't believe in that. You know, there's no real science on that for me. Even if the Israeli guys have done that, but it's not. I don't believe it in the moment. What else?
How often do you think we should test the water?
It's depending on you and the size of the tank, you know, because the price is always the same. So having a small tank for 100 liter, yeah, I wouldn't recommend to do it too often, you know. When you have gone over like 600 liter and 700, also depending what animals you keep, like having a clam like mine, I would test my tank every week because, you know, I love my clam. I also love my wife. But you understand, it is about you. But it's not the real problem, because even if you do it once a year, it brings you so much information that it would help. You know, you will find something, because it's so many informations. You know, this is the point to it. So don't care, it is about you. If you want to do it often, do it often. But for a Triton method user with a 400 liter tank, I would say, like, you know, every 2 months is enough, because you don't have any contamination. We test all the products and stuff. You know, it's quite okay.
Do you use any carbon source in your tank?
No.
And what's your nitro and phosphorus?
Algae. We use algae. It's an old system, you know. And when I started to make up the method, I started from the scratch. So from the scratch means I thought for myself that I'm the only reef keeper on the world, and there is no forum, and I cannot ask anybody. So what you would do is you go to the sea, take seawater, put it in the aquarium, and take the fish and put it in. This is the first thing you would do. You know, you wouldn't do any water change, you wouldn't have a skimmer, you wouldn't have anything. You know? And this is how it starts. And at one point, you also wouldn't use zeolite. You would use the stuff that is in the sea that's doing the job. And this is algae. But what the problem with algae is that you never supported it. Nobody supported algae, because if you have stuff in a salt that is good for algae, nobody would use the salt. You know, they would all go crazy of, fuck, my tank is full of algae. You know, this was the main problem, and we thought a bit different. We split it from the point where we go into the low nutrient system and said we're not going the way of carbon dosing and stuff like that because it is too complicated and difficult. We go in the way of the algae, and we support the algae really strongly, so it is good enough to, you know, to produce a tank like that.
Do you use carbon dioxide to the algae?
Sorry?
Do you use carbon dioxide
No.
to the algae?
No.
It's enough in there for it.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of biomass will produce a lot of carbon dioxide.
What brand of salt do you use in your tank?
No, I don't need to use salt. But the best thing is natural seawater, to be honest to you. No, there's no way out. Even I could use the best salt I can mix up. And I'm using, like I have analytical quality salt. It will never be the same like seawater, never. So I don't even know how this stuff is getting into the seawater. Wait, there was a guy. I think we have.
I forgot the question.
Don't.
I made it.
That's right. Go on. Go on. So, yeah.
You say that you use algae. Do you have a dedicated refugium then?
Yeah. We have in the method is a holistic system, you know, including everything, because we need to get one X out of the calculation. This was the filter, because if I make a method for everyone, I need to calculate everything in there. This is impossible. So the only X left is the corals, and we get it away with the ICP testing. So we know what the corals need and put it in, and the rest is quite it's quite fixed.
What kind of algae do you use in the refrigerator?
We don't care. The point is you start with something like not Caulepa Chetomorpha, which is quite okay. You can get it everywhere. We put it in the tank, and then you just start the tank. And there will be a day when you change your food, or your food more or less, or something is changing from the soil for the algae, like from the environment, and then one other algae will dominate the tank. You know, it will change with your acting. It is slow, but there is always a dominant kind of algae growing, and you shouldn't mess with it. You just leave it, and it will change from time to time by adding fish or corals, or more corals, less corals. You know, this is the way we work, because it is a natural kind of. You cannot force to grow. You cannot force algae to grow. It's not possible.
How big is your refugium?
Mine is 15 to 16% of the main tank. So it's something in between. Like you should have 10 to 20%, which is the optimum. 20, as bigger as better, because you don't need to care for it too much. It's not the point of working. It's more than how often you need to cut the algae and stuff.
What light do you use for your
T5, because this is a waste of money. Okay. I'm not. T5 is perfect. It's quite okay. Good for algae, for sure.
Do you reverse the light regime for
Yes.
the algae?
14-hour maximum illumination.
Yeah, but reverse.
Yeah.
You have night and day.
For the pH. Somebody else?
If you have a small aquarium, say about between 100 and 200 liters, and you don't find the space to have a separate refugium or something like that, is there any other possibility to?
Well, I'm not forcing you. You know, you can try, and you have a second. You know, you have your tank, which will show you if it's enough. You know, it's depending on what you want. If you want that, wouldn't be enough. You know, I can tell you right now. But if it is something that is a bit more uncomplicated, it could be enough to have no algae there. You know, so what you have then is you see it on your tank if it's you like it, and the second one is you can see on the test if everything is okay. You know, which is quite nice. It is the first thing still is your tank and what you want to reach. You know, it's not about what I want to reach. So give it a try, and when it's not working, you still can adapt to algae. You still can put in a stronger pump. It's not from the beginning. You can start it like that and then get it better. You have a guideline to get your tank better. So don't rip everything off and do it new. Yeah?
If you send a test to Triton Lab and you get the response back, that you have too high or too low levels on something you never tested, what is you do then as a aquarist?
There is an error correction sheet. There is a sheet that tells you what to do, and we're working every time on it because as more research we do, as more information will flow into this, into this error correction sheet. For a lot of heavy metals, for example, in the moment you need to do water change. There is no way out, but we tell you which salt and stuff. If it's too much, if it's too low, you have the dosage. Some things we don't like you to dose, like bromide. It's very dangerous, in our opinion. So, but they will come because, people are forcing me to bring bromide. I don't know how to do it. Okay, the last question, guys. The last 2 questions. Is that fine? Sure.
What's your goal with your company? I find this quite extraordinary that you've come so far. But do you have like a vision for the future, what you want to do and how far you want to take it?
I want to get rich. I think we'll go on with this. We're going to the biological way soon. I think we're going for the organics, and we'll still go on with this transparent kind of, getting knowledge to you guys. Because then not my company will only grow, also the community of aquarists will grow. Because right now a lot of people are frightened of because they don't know what to do. It's just like, I'm spending my money on testing 6.8%. That's not enough. This is what I want. I want the people, the aquarists in saltwater, to grow more. To get more people on the hobby. And this is actually the goal of my company. Okay, the last question.
Do you have a picture of your refugium?
This is what you asked me?
Yes. I want to see it.
I'll show it to you on the phone. Right. I don't have it here. Okay? Okay, thanks.
Just if you go deep sand also?
No. You may not do deep sand. It's not working. Because
you're not
it's not good. No, I mean not you guys.
I have experience that if I have deep sand and my query is okay.
Yeah, but when you do it our way, it's dangerous. It's dangerous. There's too many carbon stuff produced by the algae.
But I'm against deep sand in the tank. But
in the refugium, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can try, but I wouldn't.
Or in some places, especially.
Try.
I have tried.
With the metal, please be careful.
Also, on the metal query. And I found if you have a good figure, you don't get any algae on the rocks. It's very clean.
Yeah. You can work it. You can work it out. No problem. We can talk now. So if you have still some questions, you can ask me outside because David will fill me up otherwise. Thank you very much.